Full time at Anfield, and it is finished. Liverpool 1, West Ham 0, with Sadio Mane dealing the first hammer blow to ensure the Reds keep their Premier League title and quadruple hopes alive with a 1-0 win over West Ham at Anfield. You're watching the Debrief live on the Blood Red YouTube channel with myself, Patrick Smith, and Theo Squires as usual. Theo, how are you doing?
Not too bad. A bit stressed, I suppose, after that one. Liverpool made hard work of it, but it's another 3 points in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. Put very, very important 3 points in the context of the season, but God, Theo, that was a nervy one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It didn't quite click for them. I don't know why. I've lost track of the number of times I was typing away shot blocked or shot straight at Fabianski. But that makes it sound like Liverpool had all the possession and it was just West Ham frustrating them. It really wasn't. West Ham were really good today and they were carving Liverpool open, had a few chances. Robertson had to get back and put in a last-ditch challenge. Canate did, Naby Keita did. Alisson had to pull out a couple of great saves. Alexander Arnold with one of the best clearances off the line you're going to see this season. Liverpool made hard work of it. The only thing that matters, though, is it's 7:30 and they won 1-0 and they're now 3 points behind Man City. Might only be temporary. We'll see what they do against United in the Manchester derby tomorrow. But come the end of the season, it won't matter how you get those points in the bag, as long as you're getting the points in the bag. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp's happy that it's 3 points. He doesn't really care that it was as nervy as that. Now it's the end of the game. I'm sure he just said a little different 10-15 minutes ago. But yeah, job done for Liverpool, and hopefully now they'll save a better display for Inter Milan in midweek.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As Kieran Doyle says here, get out of there and run. It really is one of those situations, isn't it, here? Were you surprised with how good West Ham were today, though?
No, I wasn't, because I was at the game at the London Stadium earlier in the season and they were really good that day as well. These aren't like the West Ham we've seen a few years ago. Like, yeah, they still set up defensive. They'll frustrate you. They'll sit deep. They'll hit those long balls. They'll time waste. But they're a physical side. And it's David Moyes. He has turned them into a team that deserve to be up at the top end of the table. They deserve to be competing in the European places. They deserve to be in the knockout stages of the Europa League. And while it's a big ask for them to go and finish in the top four this season, they're one of the better teams in the division. They've got some really good players. Jurgen Klopp listed them himself in his pre-match press conference. I think he does it pretty much every time Liverpool play West Ham. You just see Souček, Antonio, Lanzini, Bowen, Fornals. They've got some really good attacking players, and that's why they compete where they do. You can see they really take into how David Moyes sets them up. They've got a style and it suits them. On another day, Liverpool would have been losing this. They would have lost. West Ham did create a number of chances and Liverpool were getting a bit lucky with that high defensive line, and they did need some last-ditch defending. I suppose it's a very tight VAR call for the goal that's gone in their favour, not saying it's offside. I think I saw a few angles from it, and depending on the angle, it looks whether it's onside or offside. But for me, Mane looks in line, and I've been saying on the pod all season, haven't I? Benefit of the doubt, and this one would have been a benefit of the doubt. You give it to the forwards. It doesn't matter that it's a nitty-gritty victory. It's a victory. Happy days.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. The David Moyes side really is like Everton blueprint, isn't it, from the noughties? But Mane's goal, another brilliant delivery from Trent, wasn't it? It's 16th assist of the season, I believe. Like, unbelievable numbers, isn't it, from right back?
We saying that's a cross then? I'm pretty sure that was a shot for me. Trent trying to get one of himself, and he just doesn't hit it right. But yeah, the way it sits up, it looks like he wants to just volley it and see it fly into the corner. He just didn't hit it right at all. But Trent's got that ability. Well, when he doesn't hit a shot right, it'll still be a brilliant cross. But it might have been a deliberate cross because it's one of those ones that's straight between the goalkeeper and the defence. They can't do anything about it. The keeper can't come out because one touch takes it in. And defenders, any touch from the defender takes it in. So they've just got to hope that it gets covered between them. And Mane's there to pick up the pieces at the far post and get the tap in. Trent had a really good game for me. I think defensively, especially, he was solid. He was winning so many interceptions down that right-hand side. As I said, if you've not seen the game, you need to watch his goal line clearance on Match of the Day. When West Ham break this high line, Fornals is one-on-one. And the way he does this little dink chip over Alisson, I think he probably thinks he's offside. Like, it's too casual to try and finish it like that. But he's not. He is miles onside. And Trent's there sprinting back, gets it off the line. And then I think it was the second shot might have been from Antonio. Canate gets the block in. But Trent's there still on the line to make sure it goes to the right side of the post for Liverpool, that is. So, yeah, he was really working hard defensively for his team today. And it is a great goal line clearance. When Liverpool won the league, one of the last images was a James Milner goal line clearance. I think it was against Bournemouth. If come May, Liverpool are champions, which is still a big ask. There's still a lot of football to be played, and it's too tight to call between these two teams at the top of the table. That Trent moment could be huge.
I mean, Liverpool were brilliant defensively today, as we said, but the high line, which has been, in recent weeks, it's come under a lot of media coverage, normally been impeccable. It was a bit sluggish today, Theo, wasn't it? The defending was brilliant, but it was as a result of maybe a poor offside trap today, wasn't it?
It's a hard one to say, really, because it's a poor offside trap, or it can just be your timing your run perfectly. If West Ham get it right, or any opposing team gets it right, it can work either way. You just need to time your run right, and you're through. Liverpool have got that pace and defence to recover. That is why they do this high line, because they know Van Dijk can sprint back, Konate can sprint back, Trent, Robertson. That's why they get away with it, and that's why they couldn't do it last season, because with all due respect to him, Nat Phillips didn't have that pace. Ozan Kabak didn't have that pace. Reece Williams didn't have that pace. So that's what Van Dijk being back in the back line has brought to them. And it's hard to watch because there are so many times when teams will go in behind and the flag will belatedly go offside, and it changes the crowd. Like, it will make Liverpool fans anxious, or it will make the opposing fans think their side are really piling on the pressure. 9 times out of 10, Liverpool got their line timed perfectly. It's just in the last week or so, Chelsea caused them a lot of problems with it. And today, West Ham caused them a few problems with it as well. You needed some last-ditch defending today. But to be fair, we say Chelsea caused some problems. How many disallowed goals were offside in that one? So that's the difference, isn't it? Liverpool, 9 times out of 10, get the line right, and it feels more of a pressure than it is because they've got it right, and because the flag's gone up, and you think, oh, that wouldn't have counted anyway. But you've still gone through the emotions. You've still waited and watched play go on to see the ball go in the back of the net, or this last-ditch tackle have to come in, and then the flag's up for offside. It doesn't really sit well when they have the flags going at the end. This is one of those rare occasions when it wasn't actually offside half the time. But that's why they've got this recovery pace and defence. This is what Jurgen Klopp wants in his team. Like, we talk about when he picks a forward, what he wants in his forwards, to be high pressing, have that pace, to be able to cut inside, be so hard working. It's the same at the back as well, to have that pace and to have that pressing ability to work so hard. And it works from front to back. Like, there was one moment in the second half when Keita sprints all the way back and gets in his great tackle to stop, I think, Antonio having a shot. If you watch the further zoomed out image, you'll see Diaz sprinting quicker than you've ever seen any player sprint in your life to make sure he's covering the man
Amazing
at the far
recovery.
post. So if Antonio squares it, it should be a tap in, but Diaz would have been there to cover it. You think, well, he's on the complete wrong side of the pitch, isn't he? He's a left winger, but that would be in the right back position. But it works the whole way across the pitch. They've got this hard-working pressing ability. They cover every blade of grass. They've got the pace. And sometimes they do need to get away with it. They do get lucky. That might have been the case today. But you make your own luck. And Liverpool have got these talented players with these attributes that work so well time and time again.
You've alluded to it nicely there. Luis Diaz back in the starting lineup today. I mean, that is one of the most Jurgen Klopp players I've ever seen. Like, the energy he's got. There's a recovery as well. I can't remember who he's against, but, runs back, wins the ball, plays it straight to Salah on the wing. Just what we need, isn't it?
Yeah, he looks more of a Jurgen Klopp player than Salah, than Mane, because he's got this big, tall build to him, doesn't he? He's like a proper sprinter. And he's got a bit more strength about him. It's impossible to knock him off the ball. Like the 50-yard run he did in the first half before Kurt Zouma just took a lump out of him, as we've seen from him, unfortunately, a bit in the last few weeks, haven't we? I'll just allude to that rather than go too fitting on him. But yeah, Diaz is just impossible to stop when he's got the ball at his feet, head down, running at defenders. They are terrified of him because, he's so quick and he can just drop that shoulder and get past you. On another day, he probably scores a couple because he's had a couple of chances which have just flashed wide of the goal or they've been blocked. But he's gone straight into this Liverpool attack and he's looking like he's been at the club for years. You'd say at the moment it's the strongest Liverpool front three, isn't it? Diaz, Salah and Mane. It's not a natural front three as such because I'm still unconvinced that Mane's the perfect number 9 in that, but he's the best out of those three. And it would be a very hard call when the time comes when Firmino's back and Jota's up to scratch that you go, do you drop Mane or do you drop Diaz or have some other sort of mix mash of it around? But you think that Jota was in the form of his life before they signed Diaz and he's got this injury at the wrong time and we've just seen Diaz flourish. When they signed Minamino, we've had 2 years now of excuses made for him. Or it's a hard time for him to come over to Liverpool mid-season. Then COVID, it's a new country, etc., etc. And I'm not taking anything away from that. That was spot on. But that makes you appreciate just how good a player Diaz is and how well he is settling in, because he doesn't need any of those excuses. He's hit the ground running and looks like he's been at the club for years. He looks perfect. He looks suited to a Jurgen Klopp style. And whatever success Liverpool go and achieve, he will play a big part of it. It's a bit before our time, but when they won the title in 1990, the signing of Ronnie Rosenthal made such an impact there and took him over the line. Dare I say it, Diaz is setting up to have a similar impact this season.
Are you calling Luis Diaz the next Ronnie Rosenthal, Theo? All he was missing today was a goal, to be fair, but the front three, they're all quite unlucky, particularly in the first half, not to get a goal. Was it poor finishing? Was it great defending from West Ham?
I'm going to say great defending. I don't think there was any too much that I think, that was a sitter. The only sitter I remember is the Lanzini one in the second half of West Ham, where he's 60 yards out and he's just leant back and skied it. Liverpool, they were just frustrated. You saw that when Mohamed Salah was substituted. He doesn't know how he's not scored today, and he normally scores against West Ham. I think this is the first time at Anfield he's not scored against them. He had 9 in 9, now it's 9 in 10. He'll be disappointed he didn't get on the score sheet today. But Liverpool did create some chances. He just had West Ham getting blocking after block after block. And when they did manage to beat those defenders, it was straight at Fabianski. It's one of those days where it's not quite worked for them in the final third. It's not quite clicked. Maybe a deflection takes one of them in and it goes in the corner and you go on to win 2 or 3-0. It's just not happened. But they've got the important goal. They've won 1-0. And you take days like this. You need victories like this. It's not a case of thrashing everyone 4-0 every single week. You're going to have nitty-gritty ones. And it's all right. You get it in the bag. Move on, grab it and run, as our friend comment has said, and then just move on to the next one, which is Inter Milan in the Champions League. And then hopefully, is it Brighton away next?
It is Brighton at home next. On the
Brighton away next.
It's away, is it? Yeah, it's away.
Yeah.
It is away.
Yeah, you're getting us geography wrong.
I should know that. No, it's definitely Brighton away.
Yeah.
In terms of the Premier League, Theo, the Manchester derby tomorrow, we're in the nightmare position of needing Man United to win for us. What are your hopes going into that one?
Yes, you need United to win, but no, it doesn't matter if they don't. It's still early March. Liverpool's still got to go to the Etihad, and you just take it one game at a time. You can't focus on these other results from these other teams. Like if Liverpool were wanting to get distracted, then you'd have felt really anxious that Chelsea thrashed Burnley 4-0 today when Liverpool struggled at Turf Moor a few weeks ago. Yes, if City drop points, it's a massive favour and you celebrate it like when Spurs beat them the other week. But you just focus on Liverpool now. They've made it a title race again. And if they go and win the league, it is one of their greatest title triumphs. If they don't, credit to them for making it a title race in the first place. They are basically in the situation City were in 18-19 when Liverpool were the leaders. And while City had the games in hand, which would have overtaken Liverpool, they just needed to win every game in front of them and see where they ended up come May. Liverpool are in that situation now. They are the hunter rather than the hunted. And it suits them. There is no pressure on them at all. They just take it each game as it comes. And it is basically what Jurgen says every season. Just always the next game is the most important one. It actually is the case for Liverpool this season. You just focus on the next game. You get the result. Then you see where you are in the league table. You don't look at who's above you. You don't look at who's behind you. You just go straight into the next game. And then when they go to the Etihad in April, that's when you see what could this mean for the title race. Yes, we all want Manchester United to win or Manchester United to get a draw. We don't say that very often, but it's not the end of the world if they don't. City are still one of the best teams in the world. That is why this title race is so exciting, because you cannot call it between Liverpool and Man City. They raise each other to these stupendous standards, and it is a case of one of them has got to drop it off. There's got to be a slip for the other one to take advantage. And you think, they've let you down here. They've slipped up like City slipped up to Spurs. But they didn't. Look how many games both of these sides win. Look how many points they put on the board. They have lost league titles with more points than any side has ever won a title with before. They are just superb. They're the best of the Premier League era, best in English football era. You just got to appreciate the sides that are in front of you. Liverpool are in a hell of a title race. You just got to enjoy the ride and hope that it works in their favour come May. Hopefully United can do them a favour, but I would be crying if they don't.
Yeah, have we seen the peak of English football already? Well, let's hope Liverpool do thrive in the underdog position. Let's hope as well that City drop points tomorrow, potentially, but we'll wait and see on that one. Theo, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you to all of you as well for watching along at home. We're back with the debrief again after Inter Milan in the week, but until then, it's goodbye for now.